Chief, my question is very specific.
Yes.
You say he oversees them. He doesn't oversee them, does he? There's no room in the Constitution for that.
He gives advice on them. He's the chairman of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Committee.
Presidential Advisory Committee,
yes,
against corruption.
Yes. And they are paid, they are remunerated. To that extent, you must look at section 84.
It's not a body known to law.
You must look at section 84 of the Constitution.
Is it a body known to law? The Presidential Advisory Committee against corruption. It can be dissolved anytime, can't they?
But they, for now, are acting in the interest of the nation. And they are drawing salaries. And they are in the public eye. And they give advice to the president to do or not to do something. And under sections 84, 88, and 89, they are answerable to the Nigerian people.
Now, but the problem is this. The issue is this. He says that there is already precedent, and that the matter...
Let me tell you those precedents.
Just a moment. And that the matter under contention is that you're talking about libel and defamation.
No, let me tell you about this. Those cases that is cited, they are out of sync with what... A case is authority for what it decides. The Tony Momo's case that is cited, for example, the Senate had invited him in other Shagari's government to come and disclose sources of information when the Daily Times, over which he was editor, wrote certain articles. And the Senate invited him that he must disclose the source of his information. And the court said no. If you invite him to disclose the source of information, such sources will dry up. Because as a journalist, he is to fish around for information. And you do not tell him to disclose the source of information because that would be going against his fundamental rights. The case of El-Rufai, I did one, for example. El-Rufai was banned by the House of Representatives from holding office for 10 years. And the court said, no, there's nowhere in the Constitution that they say you can ban a person from holding office for 10 years. And I won that case for El-Rufai when he was a chairman of the BP and then later minister of the FCT. In the case of Aton Nzeribe, for example, versus Senate president, I did that case. Nzeribe had libeled Anyi Pius Anyi, who was then the Senate president. And he called the entire National Assembly legislatives that they were thieves. And the Senate suspended him for 1 full year because they have the powers, the mechanism to discipline erring members under their rules. The law is voluntary non-fit injuria. You cannot complain when you have subjected yourself to a system that the system is too draconian on you. Once you have been given adequate, fair hearing, then you can be disciplined. The Constitution does not say anything about how to discipline members. It is the rules of the National Assembly that say if you do this thing, if you bring the National Assembly to odium, to public odium, ridicule, obloquy, this is what will happen to you. And if you traverse that, then you get the hammer. So the National Assembly, the Senate, has the power to winnow out members that they think are bringing odium and obloquy to the system by suspending them. So what otherwise you may just...
Chief, what do we then make of the examples that Chief Falana also talked about? He talked about now Senator Dino Melaye, when he was a member of the House of Reps, and 10 others who were suspended by their fellow lawmakers. That the court then the High Court ruled that he could not, just a moment, that he could not rule, you could not be suspended for more than 2 weeks. And he also cited the case of, of a member of the House of Assembly in Bauchi State, whom he said he defended in court. Just a moment. And he said the court ruled that she cannot be suspended, and no legislative house has the power to suspend a member because of the factor of representation.
Let me tell you, that is not correct. A case is authority for what it decides. The facts have to be looked at. The facts in issue must be what the court will look at. Each case is different from another case. There's no court of law that will say the Senate or the House of Representatives has no power to discipline its members. Those are not what those cases decided, or that you are denying the people of their representation. So, if, for example, a senator runs amok and carries a dagger within the presence of the National Assembly to stab other members, and the Senate says, this guy has become a danger, After handing him over to the police, they suspend him. You are saying that the National Assembly or the Senate cannot suspend such a member who has become a danger to themselves? That is why I say those facts were based on the peculiar facts given to the court.
But if
I have also given you peculiar facts now in Nehru Five matter, in Tony Mamo's matter, in Ato Nzeribe's matter, to show the other side of the coin, because a one-sided coin is a bad thing.
I'm looking at the example that you've given now. If, for instance, a member of any legislative chamber runs amok and is using a dagger on fellow members, isn't that a matter for the executive arm of government to
refer the member to the police, but the House,
do you see a situation whereby such a member would even be in the House any longer?
That is what I mean. The member,
not by the virtue of suspension.
Give me a little opportunity.
Just a moment. Not by the virtue of suspension.
Ask the question, then let me answer.
Yeah.
Because when you break in, I may lose my train. What I'm saying, such a member, apart from being handed over to the law enforcement agents, members of the Senate can also decide to suspend such a member for being a danger to them. They can even tell you to go home for 1 year. And no court of law is going to say, for suspending your member, that you have breached the right of that member, or you have breached the right of their constituency. That is why I say a case is authority for what it decides. Let me tell you, we must be careful about the kind of advice we give to this government. I heard some of them saying the Senate does not have power, because you also mentioned it, to tell Hamid Ali, Comptroller General of Customs, who has 6 deputy Comptroller Generals as his assistant, and many assistant Comptroller Generals, to appear before him in uniform. They are wrong again. You have to look at sections 5, 6, 7, 8 of the Custom and Excise Management Act, CIMA. I look at Rule 31, made pursuant thereto.
Well, Chief, Chief, I'm afraid I have to stop you. We have to go on break. It's important that we take this moment. When we come back, we'll continue from where we stopped. Thank you.